If you keep losing momentum, it's not because you're weak. It's because your mindset isn't steady enough to carry you through. That's the truth. Nobody tells you. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another shortcut. What you need is a consistent way of thinking that keeps you focused, strong, and driven, no matter how hard life hits. Do you ever start something with full energy, but then slowly let it fade when things get tough? Do you catch yourself falling into the same patterns, even when you swore you'd change? If so, this video is going to hit deep. We're going to break down why your mindset controls everything and how staying consistent with it can completely transform your life. No fluff, no hype, just real talk, practical guidance, and a powerful reminder of what you're truly capable of when your thinking is locked in and you refuse to quit. Number 1, build mental toughness by facing your fears daily. You don't build a strong life by waiting for things to get easier. You build a strong life by getting stronger, and you only get stronger by facing what scares you. That's the truth. Nobody likes to say out loud. Most people spend their days avoiding the hard stuff, backing away from discomfort, hoping somehow life will get smoother, but it doesn't. Life gets heavier, not lighter. And if your mind isn't tough enough, that weight will break you. It starts with fear. Every person alive has it. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change, fear of being seen trying and not succeeding. These fears are real and powerful, and they will run your life if you don't learn how to face them head on. The reason so many people feel stuck, lost, or unfulfilled is because they've never trained their minds to push through fear. They stop at the first sign of resistance and then wonder why their life never moves forward. You have to understand something. The people who live strong, meaningful, powerful lives aren't fearless. They're not born with some special courage. They just decided to stop running. They decided that fear wouldn't control what they do every day. They chose to lean into it, to walk into it, and to face it until it lost its power over them. You don't need to conquer fear all at once. That's not how it works. You build mental toughness in small moments, daily choices, little battles that no one else sees. You do the thing you're afraid to do, not because it's easy, but because your future depends on it. You speak up when you'd rather stay quiet. You try again after you fail. You wake up early when you don't feel like it. You confront the uncomfortable truth about yourself instead of pretending it's not there. Every time you do that, you grow. You become stronger. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels like a war inside your head. One voice telling you to back off. The other voice saying, keep going. That's the battle. And the more you win that internal fight, the more power you have over your own life. That's real strength. Most people want a shortcut. They want confidence without the work. They want results without the risk. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. You do the hard thing first. You face the fear. You go into the unknown. And on the other side of that is proof. Proof that you survived. Proof that you're capable. Proof that you're not as weak as you once believed. Think about it. How many opportunities have you missed because fear told you to stay comfortable? How many goals have you talked yourself out of because it seemed too risky, too uncertain, too hard? You can't live a strong life if you keep folding every time things get uncomfortable. You have to decide that fear doesn't get to make your decisions anymore. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You just need to start with one act of courage today. Face one fear today. Something small, something real. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's applying for something you think you're not good enough for. Maybe it's finally setting a standard for your life and saying, I don't accept this anymore. Whatever it is, do it now. Because the longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. And if you keep giving in, you teach your mind to doubt you. That's the danger. Every time you choose fear, you weaken your own belief in yourself. And when you weaken your belief, everything else in your life suffers. Your relationships, your goals, your energy, your direction. You become a shell of who you could be. But the opposite is also true. When you face fear, even in small ways, you build belief. You build grit. You build that inner fire that says, I can handle this. And once you know you can handle fear, life changes. You stop shrinking yourself. You stop doubting every decision. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. Because now you're the one taking control. The strongest minds are not the ones that never struggle. They're the ones that keep showing up when it's hard. They're the ones who fall but stand back up. They're the ones who feel the fear but don't let it choose for them. And that kind of strength, that mental toughness, it changes everything. It changes how you wake up in the morning. It changes how you treat people. It changes how you pursue your goals. And over time, it becomes who you are. This is how you build a strong life. Not by avoiding what scares you, but by confronting it. Not by hoping things change, but by changing how you show up. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one hard moment at a time. You already know what you need to do. That fear you've been carrying around, that's the doorway to your next breakthrough. Walk into it. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, do it anyway. Because if you don't, life will stay the same. And deep down you know you want more than that. You weren't born to live a life ruled by fear. You were born to grow, to evolve, to rise above who you used to be. But that takes strength, mental strength. And mental strength is built by choice. Not once, but every day. This is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. Brave enough to face what you'd rather avoid. Brave enough to do the things that matter even when they scare you. And if you keep doing that, one day you'll look in the mirror and you won't just see someone who survived. You'll see someone who's alive. Someone who's earned their confidence. Someone who trusts themselves. That's when you know you've built something real. So today, face one fear. Just one. Then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And don't stop. Because the more fear you face, the more life you gain. That's how you build a strong mind. And a strong mind builds a strong life. Now make that choice. Number 2, strengthen your mind by embracing challenges without hesitation. If you keep waiting for life to be easy, you'll be waiting forever. And in that time, your confidence will fade, your strength will weaken, and the best version of you will stay buried. Life doesn't hand over power to the passive. It rewards the one who steps up without hesitation. It rewards the one who sees a challenge and says, that's exactly where I need to go. If you want to grow, really grow, not just talk about it, you must make a decision to stop avoiding the difficult path. You must embrace the discomfort, the pressure, the uncertainty, and the setbacks. You must stop seeing challenges as threats and start treating them like opportunities to become the kind of person who cannot be shaken. That's where your real transformation begins. Not in comfort, not in safety, but in the heat of life's hardest tests. You've probably been told that the smart move is to avoid unnecessary struggle. That life is supposed to be about minimizing pain and maximizing pleasure. But the truth is, if you're always choosing comfort, you're silently choosing weakness. Your mind doesn't get sharper by avoiding effort. It gets sharper by being challenged. Your confidence doesn't grow by staying where you feel safe. It grows by stepping into the fire, by proving to yourself that you're capable of handling more than you thought. I've seen people break down over problems they should have been able to handle. Why? Because they never trained their minds. They avoided every challenge. They tiptoed through life, hoping not to get hurt, but they still ended up tired, anxious, frustrated, and unsure of who they were. Because the pain doesn't go away when you avoid it. It just shows up in other places, your relationships, your energy, your sense of purpose. You don't escape challenge. You just delay the lesson. The strongest people I've ever known are the ones who never waited to feel ready. They didn't ask life to go easy on them. They stood up to the test and said, bring it on. They understood something most people never do, that avoiding challenges might keep you comfortable, but it keeps you weak. They knew the mind must be tested to become strong. And testing it doesn't mean talking about change. It means showing up for it, again and again, when it's inconvenient, when it's scary, when everything in you says wait. Most people hesitate when the moment comes. They second guess. They look for signs. They look for a guarantee that it'll work. That's not how strength is built. You become mentally unshakable by moving forward when there is no certainty. When all you have is your belief that you'll figure it out. And here's the thing. Those who move forward without guarantees, they learn faster. They adapt quicker. They gain wisdom others only read about. Why? Because they're in the game. They're living. They're not stuck on the sidelines of their own life. You've got to stop waiting to feel comfortable before you act. You'll wait your entire life if that's the standard. Do you want to know what separates the strong from the weak? It's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not who has the best ideas. It's who has the courage to embrace what's hard and keep going even when everything feels uncertain. That's the foundation of mental strength. It's built by showing up when you don't feel ready, by committing when it's easier to stay silent, by pushing when quitting would feel like relief. You want to grow? Start saying yes to the things that make your stomach turn. Say yes to the things that expose your flaws. Say yes to the situations where you might not look perfect, where you might fall short, where you might be judged. That's the environment that builds a mind that can't be broken. Not because it's perfect, not because it always wins, but because it's unafraid of what comes next. When you hesitate in front of a challenge, your mind records it. You send a message to yourself that says, "I can't handle this." That one message becomes a habit. And the more you repeat it, the more it becomes your identity. That's how people end up trapped in lives they never wanted, because they practiced hesitation so often. They forgot how to act with courage. But you can rewire that right now. You can create a new pattern. Every time you feel yourself hesitating in front of something difficult, do it anyway. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Just act. Because every time you take action without hesitation, you're building a mind that trusts itself. A mind that doesn't panic when life gets heavy. A mind that sees adversity and doesn't blink. Challenges are not your enemy. They are your invitation to grow. They are the world's way of saying, you are ready for more. But if you keep turning them down, you'll keep living with less strength, less belief, less purpose. Life will feel small, not because that's all there is, but because you never reached past what was easy. I'm not here to tell you it's going to be quick or easy. I'm here to tell you it's possible. I'm here to remind you that you are capable of handling more than you've allowed yourself to believe. I've watched people with nothing become leaders in their homes and communities, simply because they made a decision to stop hiding from challenge. They didn't need more education. They didn't need more support. They needed more courage to act. The strength you're looking for doesn't live in books or quotes or videos. It lives in your choices, in how you respond when things get messy, when people don't believe in you, when you make mistakes and feel exposed. That's where your character is built. That's where your limits get stretched. Too many people spend their lives running away from discomfort. They build routines that protect them from anything unpredictable. But you were not made to live like that. You weren't born to avoid. You were born to overcome. But you can't overcome anything if you're always waiting for the fear to go away. It won't. But your relationship with it can change. You can train your mind to move forward, even when you're scared. You can condition yourself to respond instead of retreat. And when you do that long enough, you stop fearing challenges altogether. You start craving them, not because they're fun, but because you know they make you better. And when you start chasing the things that make you better, your life starts to reflect that. You walk different. You speak with more certainty. You move with more clarity. Not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. And that kind of strength, it can't be faked. It can't be bought. It can't be handed to you. It has to be earned. Earned through decisions that most people avoid. Earned through moments of action when hesitation would have felt safer. Earned by waking up and doing what matters when no one's watching. That's the kind of strength I'm talking about. The kind that lives deep in your mindset. The kind that doesn't rely on perfect circumstances. The kind that shows up even when things fall apart. The kind that keeps building when everything around you says stop. If you want that, stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Start embracing the uncomfortable path. Face the challenge. Step into what's hard. Every time you do, you'll grow. Maybe not overnight. Maybe not in the way you expect. But over time, you will transform. Not just your habits, not just your results, but the very way you see yourself. When you build a strong mind, you become dangerous to the version of you that used to settle. You become a threat to the life that tried to keep you average. You become someone who takes control, someone who commands respect, someone who doesn't flinch when the pressure rises. You weren't meant to be fragile. You were meant to face the fire and walk out wiser. You were meant to stretch beyond your fears and show others what's possible. And that process starts the moment you stop hesitating and start acting. So here's the challenge. Starting today, embrace one thing that scares you, something that pushes you, something you've been avoiding. Step into it. Own it. Give it everything you've got. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to the strength you're looking for. The life you want is not sitting in safety. It's on the other side of everything you've been too afraid to face. Go there. Be the one who acts. Be the one who stops waiting. Be the one who lives with courage instead of regret. That's how you strengthen your mind. That's how you live a strong life. And that's how you become someone nobody can ignore. Now prove it. Number 3, control your thoughts and focus on your goals relentlessly. Your mind is the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever wanted in life. The question is, what are you letting it do? Is it working for you, pushing you toward your goals? Or is it working against you, feeding you doubt, distraction, and confusion? Every moment, your thoughts are shaping your future. They're either creating the life you desire or keeping you stuck where you are. The good news is, you get to decide which one it is. Most people think the world controls their destiny. They think circumstances, people, or luck are the deciding factors. But I'm here to tell you that the truth is much simpler than that. You control your destiny, you control your thoughts, and you can control them to the point where your focus becomes unstoppable, where your mind serves you, not the other way around. You've heard it before. What you think, you become. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's a universal law. If you want to achieve anything, you need to keep your mind fixed on your goals relentlessly. The thoughts that run through your mind every day are not just passing ideas. They're the building blocks of your future. Every single thought is a seed that's either helping you grow towards success or pulling you further away from it. Most people are like leaf boats floating in a stream, carried wherever the current takes them. They let distractions, negative thoughts, and other people's opinions dictate their day. But that's not the way to live. That's not the way to become the person you're meant to be. You need to step out of that current and take control. You need to grab the rudder of your life and steer it. But to do that, you need to control the direction of your thoughts. How many times have you gotten distracted by something that doesn't really matter? How often do you spend your time thinking about things that have nothing to do with your goals? We all do it. But the truth is, if you're not focused on your goals every single day, you're letting life slip through your fingers. The people who succeed don't have more talent than you. They don't have better circumstances. They just have better control over their thoughts. And that control is something you can learn, something you can practice, and something you can master. You're not a passive observer in your life. You are the creator. And if you want to create something extraordinary, you need to focus on it with every ounce of energy, every fiber of your being. You need to direct your mind like a laser beam, cutting through every distraction, every obstacle, every excuse. Because if you don't, your mind will drift. It'll be pulled in 1,000 different directions. And you'll look up one day and wonder why you haven't made any progress. So how do you control your thoughts? It starts with awareness. You can't control what you don't acknowledge. Every time you have a negative thought, catch it. Every time you get distracted, recognize it. And then immediately, shift your focus back to what matters. It's a simple process, but it's not easy. The mind is a wild animal. It doesn't want to be tamed. It wants to wander, to play, to get distracted. But the most successful people know that taming their mind is the key to their success. One of the most powerful tools you can use is the habit of daily focus. You need to dedicate time every single day to focus on your goals. This means setting aside distractions, putting your phone on silent, and giving yourself permission to concentrate on nothing else but your vision. And don't let anything break that focus. This doesn't have to be a long period of time. It could be an hour, or even 30 minutes, but it has to be uninterrupted. It has to be a time when your mind is completely aligned with your goals, where you can picture yourself achieving what you want in vivid detail. This focus time will build your mental strength. It will build your discipline, and over time, it will rewire your brain to think in terms of solutions, not problems. When you commit to this kind of focused thinking, your goals will become clearer. You'll start to see exactly what you need to do to get there. You'll start to identify the steps, the people, the opportunities, and the resources you need to make it happen. Your mind will begin to work for you, not against you. But controlling your thoughts isn't just about focusing on your goals. It's about controlling the negativity that tries to creep in. The self-doubt, the fear, the limiting beliefs that say, you can't do it, you're not good enough, or it's too hard. Everyone has those thoughts. But the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is what they do with those thoughts. Successful people don't let them control them. They acknowledge them, but they don't let them stop them. They've learned how to flip the script, to turn those negative thoughts into fuel for their success. It's about telling yourself, yes, this is hard. Yes, I'm scared. Yes, I have doubts, but I am going to do it anyway. I am going to push through. I am going to keep my mind focused on the outcome, not the obstacle. When you do that, you're not just controlling your thoughts, you're building the mental muscle that will allow you to achieve your goals, no matter how difficult they seem. And let's be honest, the road to success is rarely smooth. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when you want to give up. But the key to success is not avoiding those moments. It's learning how to keep your thoughts focused on the end goal, even when things aren't going as planned. It's about keeping your mind fixed on your vision, even when you're faced with challenges that make you question if it's worth it. Every time you face a setback, your mind will try to pull you in two directions. One part will say, this is too hard. Maybe you should quit. The other part will say, this is just a bump in the road. Stay focused. Keep going. Your job is to listen to the second voice. That's the voice of your goals, your future, and your purpose. The more you practice focusing on that voice, the easier it becomes, and the stronger you become. It's about creating the habit of relentless focus. It's about training your mind to ignore distractions and constantly bring your attention back to what matters. This isn't something that happens overnight, but every day you practice. Every time you resist the urge to drift, you strengthen your mind. You make your focus sharper, and when your focus is sharp, nothing can stop you. Your thoughts are the most powerful tool you have. They are the foundation of everything you do, everything you achieve. When you control your thoughts, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your life. It all starts with focus. The ability to concentrate on your goals with unwavering dedication is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's what separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. So today, I want you to make a decision to take control of your thoughts, a decision to focus on your goals every single day, no matter what, a decision to stop letting distractions, negativity, and doubt control your mind. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your life. Now I want you to imagine your future. Picture yourself achieving everything you've ever dreamed of. Can you see it? Can you feel it? That's the power of your focus. That's the power of your mind. It's time to take control. It's time to focus. And it's time to start living the life you were meant to live. This is your moment. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for things to change. Start today. Start now. Focus on your goals. Control your thoughts. And watch your life transform before your eyes. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Treat it like one. Number 4. Train your mind to stay calm under any pressure. When the storm hits, will you panic? Or will you remain unshakable? Because life isn't asking if pressure will come. It's asking who you'll be when it does. Everyone wants peace, but most people wait for peace to find them. They wait for life to get easier. They wait for things to calm down. But true peace isn't about what happens around you. It's about what you've built inside you. If your mind collapses under stress, then your dreams will collapse with it. But if you train your mind to stay calm, regardless of what's happening, you become a force that cannot be moved. Most people don't break because of what happened. They break because they never trained for it. Pressure is not the enemy. It's the test. And those who are calm in the face of chaos, those who can breathe when everyone else is suffocating, they are the ones who rise. They are the ones who lead, the ones who endure, the ones who overcome what others run from. Let me ask you something. How many times have you been overwhelmed and reacted in a way that made things worse? How many moments have you let your emotions take the wheel and drive you straight into a wall? That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But staying stuck there, that's a choice. The person you want to become, the stronger, clearer, more resilient version of you, does not show up when things are easy. That version is forged in the middle of discomfort. And the key to unlocking that version is not brute force. It's calm. It's control. It's training your mind to stand still when everything around you is shaking. There's a reason why warriors meditate before battle, why leaders pause before they speak, because your response in high-pressure moments determines everything. Most people think reacting fast is strength. It's not. True strength is the ability to slow down under pressure, to observe, to think, to respond with precision, not panic. And that ability is a skill, one that you can learn, one that you must learn if you ever want to reach your potential. You cannot let external chaos decide your internal state. If you do, life will always control you. Someone will always say something that ruins your day. A setback will always shake your confidence. An unexpected event will always throw you off course. But when you train your mind to stay grounded, truly grounded, there is no situation that can steal your clarity. You become the calm in the storm. You become the one people look to, not the one who's looking for help. It starts with one decision to stop letting pressure own you. Every time life gets tense, that is your chance to practice calm. Not once a month, not when it's convenient, but every single day. The way you breathe when you're stressed, the way you speak when you're frustrated, the way you carry yourself when the pressure is building. These moments are your training ground. And the more you face them with stillness, the more powerful you become. Think about it. How do you feel when someone stays calm during chaos? It earns your respect. It creates trust. It shows strength. That's not an accident. That's mental discipline. That's someone who's done the work. And you can become that person too. You don't need special talent. You don't need a perfect background. What you need is commitment. You need to say, I will not be ruled by my emotions anymore. You need to stop just reacting and start mastering. Pressure reveals who's in control, you or your mind. And if you've never taken time to train your mind, it's probably been leading you in circles. It overthinks. It imagines worst-case scenarios. It tells you to quit when things get hard. That's what an untrained mind does. But when you train your mind daily, you start to recognize the lies. You stop following fear. You stop panicking when the plan changes. You become adaptable. You become focused. You become dangerous in the best way. Start by paying attention. When your heart races, when your jaw tightens, when your hands shake, pause, breathe, interrupt the automatic response. You are not your thoughts. You are the one observing your thoughts. That single realization gives you power. Power to choose how you respond. Power to stay calm while others lose control. Power to keep moving forward when most people freeze or flee. And remember, calm isn't weakness. Calm is controlled fire. It's quiet power. It's being so deeply centered that nothing external can destroy your internal strength. Calm doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel everything but remain unmoved. It means you can process emotion without drowning in it. It means you lead yourself, no matter what chaos tries to lead you. Look at the people you admire most. The ones who built something great. The ones who weathered the storm. They didn't do it by staying calm only when things were easy. They did it by staying calm, especially when things got hard. And that calm didn't come from nowhere. It came from commitment, from consistent practice, from refusing to let pressure decide who they were. So how do you build it? How do you develop that unshakable calm? You start by putting yourself in uncomfortable situations on purpose. You do things that stretch you, that challenge you, that put pressure on you in small doses, because that's how growth works. You don't build strength by avoiding difficulty. You build it by stepping into it, again and again until it doesn't shake you anymore. Calm isn't built through comfort. It's built through exposure. Wake up earlier than you want. Work longer than you feel like. Push through the moment your body says stop. Sit still in silence when your mind wants to escape. Speak your truth when your voice shakes. These moments, all of them, are building something inside you. They are forging your ability to remain calm when the pressure turns up to full volume. The more you lean into pressure, the more it stops scaring you. You begin to see it as fuel, as opportunity, as the environment where your best self is revealed. Because when you can stay calm in chaos, you are in control, not just of the situation, but of your life. People will try to rattle you. Circumstances will try to break you. But when you train your mind to remain calm, they lose their power. You become untouchable, not because nothing affects you, but because nothing controls you. And let's be honest, we live in a world that profits off your anxiety, your fear, your stress. That's why training your mind is a radical act. It's a declaration that your peace is not for sale, that your mind is not a puppet, that your power cannot be stolen by chaos. You are reclaiming the throne of your life by mastering the space between stimulus and response. That space is everything. In that moment when life punches you, when the pressure tightens, when the heat turns up, that tiny space is where you decide who you are. That's the moment where you choose, will I react emotionally, or will I respond with clarity? Will I crumble, or will I center myself and rise? And when you do this often enough, you stop fearing pressure. You start to walk into tense situations, knowing that you're ready, that you've trained for this, that you don't have to fake calm. You are calm, because you've become the kind of person who doesn't just survive pressure, you lead through it. So if you're tired of feeling overwhelmed, if you're sick of letting stress dictate your decisions, if you're done being emotionally hijacked by every challenge, then now is the time to train your mind. Don't wait until you're in the storm to learn how to stand still. Prepare now, commit now, practice now. Because life doesn't slow down for you to catch up. You must become faster, sharper, stronger inside. You were not born to panic. You were not created to crumble. You were built for more. Built to lead yourself first, so you can lead others. And that begins with calm. Calm is your power. Calm is your edge. Calm is what separates the distracted from the focused, the reactive from the relentless, the fragile from the unbreakable. So make it your mission to become the calmest person in the room. Not by chance, but by choice. Not when life is easy, but especially when it's not. Build that strength in silence. Train it daily. Because when life gets loud, when pressure rises, when the stakes are high, that calm will carry you to victory. And if you feel that spark in you right now, if you know deep down you were made for more than just surviving, then don't ignore it. Lean into it. That's the call. That's the voice of your higher self saying, let's rise. So rise, not with noise, not with panic, but with silent, steady, powerful calm. Now breathe, stand up, and move forward. Calmly, relentlessly, unstoppably. Number 5, push past discomfort to unlock your true mental power. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. You're standing still, stuck in a version of yourself that the world has already forgotten. Let that sink in for a second, because deep down, you know it's true. Every time you've grown in your life, it didn't come from playing it safe. It didn't come from comfort. It came from pressure, from friction, from being forced into situations that tested your limits and demanded more from you than you thought you had. But somewhere along the way, comfort became your goal instead of your enemy. You started chasing what felt easy instead of what made you powerful. But let me tell you something that might shake your soul back awake. Everything you want: clarity, confidence, discipline, resilience, success, self-respect, lives on the other side of discomfort. You cannot unlock your true mental power by avoiding what challenges you. You build it by leaning into the very thing that most people run from. Most people spend their lives trying to escape discomfort. They numb it with distractions. They delay it with excuses. They avoid it with perfectionism. But you're here because part of you is tired of hiding. You're tired of shrinking to fit the life that's become too small for your potential. You know there's something deeper in you, and you're ready to rip through the fear that's been holding you back. Listen closely. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the doorway. It's the invitation to step into the version of yourself that's been waiting patiently behind every excuse you've made. And you don't need more time. You don't need better circumstances. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to move through the resistance that shows up every time you try to level up. Your mind is built for survival, not success. So the moment things get hard, your brain tells you to stop, to back off, to go back to the safe zone. That's why you procrastinate. That's why you talk yourself out of action. That's why you say, I'll do it tomorrow. Your mind is doing its job. But if you want to lead your life instead of being led by fear, you have to learn to override that signal. You have to make discomfort your ally. You have to rewire the way you respond to pain, pressure, and fatigue. Because on the surface, discomfort feels like suffering. But underneath, it's actually growth in disguise. It's the burning away of weakness. It's the sharpening of focus. It's the stress test that reveals who you are beneath the noise. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something that genuinely scared you? Not something reckless, but something that required you to stretch, to face judgment, to risk failing publicly, to do the thing when everything inside you screamed. Don't, because that moment, that's where power is found. Not in talking about change, not in planning forever, but in taking the step that hurts. Your mind will give you every reason to back out. You're not ready. What if they laugh? What if you fail? But you can't let those voices drive your life. They are not you. They are echoes of the past, trying to keep you in the same place. And if you keep listening to them, you'll live the same year over and over, calling it a life. Growth is brutal. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely, but it's worth it. Because with every moment you push through, you prove something to yourself. You teach your brain. We don't fold when things get hard. We get sharper. We get better. We rise. That's how you shift your identity. Not by thinking differently, but by doing differently, consistently, especially when it's hard. You don't get stronger by waiting for motivation. You get stronger by acting without it. You don't build mental power by always feeling inspired. You build it by showing up on the days you feel empty. You don't earn resilience by reading books. You earn it by walking through fire with your eyes open and your head high. Every time you choose to do the hard thing, instead of the easy one, you chip away at weakness. Every time you sit in the discomfort, instead of running from it, you grow another layer of grit. And over time, those layers become armor. Armor that shields you from self-doubt, from distraction, from every mental excuse you've ever used to play small. You want to level up, then do what others won't. Get up earlier, stay focused longer, train harder, stay in the cold shower when your body says quit. Take the next step in your business when fear tells you to slow down. Speak the truth even when your voice shakes. Choose the path that makes you nervous, because nervous means growth. Don't wait for the perfect moment to act. That moment doesn't exist. What exists is now, this moment, this breath, this decision. You either do the thing that stretches you, or you don't. And every time you choose comfort, you reinforce weakness. Every time you lean into discomfort, you take back your power. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel brave. But that's the point. You act anyway. That's where mental power is born. In the gap between fear and movement, in the space where you feel resistance and move through it anyway. And the more you do it, the stronger you get. Not just physically, not just emotionally, but mentally, deeply, permanently. Your mind is the strongest weapon you have. But like any weapon, it must be forged. And forging doesn't happen in peace. It happens in pressure. It happens when you're tired, scared, and uncertain, but you show up anyway. That's how warriors are made. That's how leaders are born. That's how the old version of you is burned away and replaced by something unbreakable. You want to stop overthinking? Get uncomfortable. You want to stop doubting yourself? Get uncomfortable. You want to stop living in fear? Get uncomfortable. Because that's the antidote. Not more thinking, not more waiting. Action, movement, pressure, discomfort. That's the medicine. And it's bitter at first, but it heals everything. The longer you avoid discomfort, the longer you avoid your potential. And the longer you avoid your potential, the more regret you build. Regret doesn't come from failing. It comes from not trying, from knowing you had more to give, but held it back because it was too hard, too awkward, too painful. Don't let that be your story. Push yourself. Not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. Because the life you want, the power you crave, the version of you that you dream about, only shows up when you're willing to suffer for it. And this isn't about being reckless. This is about being real. Being honest enough to say, I'm not there yet, but I'm willing to bleed to get there. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to make it easy. And that's exactly why it's worth it. Because when you earn it through pain, you never question if you deserve it. You know, deep in your bones, you know you paid the price. And that confidence, that's what makes you unstoppable. So lean in. Don't flinch when it hurts. Don't back off when it's inconvenient. Don't tell yourself you'll try later. Later is how average lives are built. You're not here to be average. You're here to be undeniable. And that starts by pushing again and again past the point where others stop. This is your moment to go all in, to stretch farther, to test yourself in ways you've avoided for too long. Discomfort is not a punishment. It's your proving ground. It's where your real power is hiding, waiting to be unlocked. But you have to go through it to reach it. You have to sweat for it, sacrifice for it, fight for it. And once you do, once you've tasted what it feels like to break through, you'll never go back. You'll stop fearing pain. You'll stop running from pressure. You'll start looking for it, because you'll know it's shaping you into something fierce, something rare, something extraordinary. Now stand up, shake off the fear, embrace the fire, and start moving. Push through the discomfort. Push past your limits. Push until your mind stops trying to control you, and you take full control of it. This is how you rise. This is how you win. This is how you become who you were always meant to be. No more delays. No more excuses. No more comfort. Push forward. Push harder. Push now. Number 6. Accept failure as a lesson to grow stronger every time. You haven't truly started living until failure has shattered your pride and forced you to rebuild yourself from the ground up with nothing but grit and hunger. Most people avoid failure like it's a plague. They see it as shame, as weakness, as proof that they aren't good enough. But that's a lie. That's the illusion that keeps people small, stuck in cycles of mediocrity, chasing perfection while hiding from the very thing that could set them free. If you're watching this right now, it means you're not one of those people. You're not here to tiptoe through life, hoping to never fall. You're here to dominate, to evolve, and to become something far beyond what you've been. And that means facing failure, not as something to be feared, but as something to be welcomed, because failure is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the moment your illusions are stripped away and your real potential starts to emerge. You learn who you are when nothing works. You discover what you're made of when your best plan crumbles, and you still keep moving. The world doesn't give its rewards to the perfect. It gives them to the persistent. You will fail. You will fall. You will make mistakes that sting, that break your heart, that make you question why you even started. That's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. But that's where your strength is born. Not in success, but in recovery. Not in ease, but in resilience. You don't grow when everything is smooth. You grow when everything collapses, and you refuse to collapse with it. Too many people treat failure as a final judgment. But real winners, real builders, they treat failure like feedback. They ask, what can I learn? Instead of saying, why me? They adapt. They adjust. They refuse to let a loss define them, because they understand that every setback carries a lesson, and every lesson is a tool, and tools, when used with intention, turn struggle into strategy, and defeat into direction. You want to win? Then embrace the losses, because each one teaches you something no success ever could. It teaches you what you missed. It shows you your blind spots. It exposes your weaknesses, and that exposure, that discomfort, is what leads to transformation. You can't improve what you're not willing to face. You can't grow past what you're afraid to acknowledge. When you fail and you keep going, you send a message to your own mind. I am stronger than this moment. And the more times you repeat that, the more unshakable you become. Your confidence is not built by pretending everything is fine. It's built by looking failure in the face and saying, I'm not done yet. Every person you admire has failed more times than you've tried. Every success story is written in chapters of struggle. You just didn't see those chapters. You saw the highlight reel, the final product, the celebration. But what you didn't see were the sleepless nights, the rejections, the doubts, the breakdowns. You didn't see them cry after a loss. You didn't see them fall short again and again, but they kept showing up. And that's why they're where they are. So don't envy people's victories until you've studied their failures. Don't idolize their success until you've understood their pain. Because behind every great achievement is a graveyard of failed attempts. And the only difference between them and you is that they used failure as fuel, not as a reason to quit. You've got dreams. You've got goals. But you also have fears. You have moments where you feel like maybe you're not cut out for it. That maybe it would be easier to just walk away. Let me tell you something. That voice inside you that says, you're not enough, that voice only gets louder when you run. But when you face your failure head on, when you get back up after falling flat, that voice starts to die. Because your actions speak louder than your doubts. Your movement silences the noise. Every time you try again, you weaken the grip fear has on your future. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be relentless. Stop trying to avoid the fall. Start preparing for how you'll rise. Because you will fall. And it will hurt. But it will also reveal a version of you that only pain can uncover. You will realize you're capable of rebuilding. You'll find strength you didn't know you had. And that's when your identity changes. From someone who tries to someone who endures. That's the turning point. That's where everything begins to shift. When you stop avoiding failure and start absorbing its lessons. When you stop seeing failure as humiliation and start seeing it as education. Because every failure is a teacher in disguise. And the faster you learn, the faster you grow. What if you stopped fearing failure and started chasing it? What if you leaned so hard into your dreams that you were willing to fall on your face in public, knowing that every fall moves you forward? What if you accepted that the only way to sharpen your mind, to build your discipline, to master your craft, is to keep failing forward? That mindset changes everything. It makes you bold. It makes you free. Because now you're not tiptoeing through life, trying not to mess up. You're attacking life, knowing that messing up is part of the process. And in that shift, you stop being a prisoner of your fear, and you become a creator of your destiny. You want to become great? Then get comfortable being uncomfortable. Accept that you will fail and plan to learn faster than anyone else. Be the one who studies the defeat, who extracts the lesson, who applies the correction, and who tries again with more fire, more clarity, and more precision than before. Don't hide your failures. Don't bury them. Own them. Speak about them. Share them. Because when you normalize failure, you disarm it. You take away its power to shame you. You turn it from a weight into a weapon. That's how you build unstoppable confidence. Not by hiding your scars, but by wearing them with pride. Because each one tells a story. I tried, I failed, I learned, and I came back stronger. And that is the story that transforms lives. Not perfection, not ease, but perseverance, consistency, courage. The courage to keep going when most would give up. The courage to stand tall after falling flat. The courage to look at failure and say, thank you for showing me where to grow. So next time you fall short, don't hide, don't spiral, don't run away. Step back, breathe, reflect, and ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? And then go to work, with sharper focus, with a stronger plan, with a better mindset. That's how you win, not by avoiding failure, but by evolving through it. This is how you build a life that matters. This is how you stop being a spectator and become a contender. This is how you stop being controlled by fear and start living with purpose. By using every failure as a stepping stone. By using every setback as a slingshot. By turning every pain into power. You will not get it right the first time. You will not be perfect. And that's okay. Because life isn't about getting it right. It's about getting back up. Again and again and again. Until one day you look back at the mountain you climbed and realize it was built out of every time you refused to quit. And in that moment, you'll know. You didn't just survive failure. You used it to become invincible. Now it's your turn. Go fail boldly. Go fail fiercely. Go fail forward. And then rise. Because the world is not waiting for the perfect version of you. It's waiting for the resilient version. The version that learns. The version that grows. The version that refuses to stay down. That's the version that changes everything. That's the version that wins. Number 7, discipline your mind and eliminate negative thoughts immediately. If you don't take control of your mind, it will control you and it will destroy you from the inside out. Every battle you face in your life starts in your head. Not with other people, not with your circumstances, not with your failures. It starts with the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. And if you let negative thoughts sit, they will rot everything good in your life. They'll twist your perception, weaken your spirit, and rob you of the energy you need to move forward. You could have everything in place, your goals, your plans, your ambition. But if your mind is undisciplined, none of it will matter, because your thoughts will betray you before life ever does. Think about this. How many times have you talked yourself out of greatness before you even tried? How many times have you stood at the edge of a breakthrough, only to back down because your thoughts whispered, "You're not ready. You're not good enough." What if you fail? And the worst part, you believed it. That's how powerful your thoughts are. They shape your emotions, dictate your actions, and ultimately control your destiny. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Those thoughts are not facts. Just because your mind says something doesn't mean it's true. Your thoughts can lie, and most of the time they do, especially the ones that come from fear, insecurity, doubt, or past trauma. The problem is, most people never learn to question their thoughts. They just react. They accept the noise as truth, and that's the trap. If you want to change your life, you must change your relationship with your thoughts. You must become the master, not the slave, because thoughts are like visitors. They come and go. But if you're not careful, they move in, take over, and start running your life without your permission. And the negative ones, they don't knock. They don't ask. They barge in, loudly and aggressively, demanding your attention. You cannot let that happen. You must train your mind to spot them, challenge them, and eliminate them immediately. Because the longer you entertain a negative thought, the more power it gains. It starts as a whisper, then grows into a belief, then hardens into a habit. And before you know it, you're living a life built on lies. Your mind told you when you were tired, afraid, or discouraged. You have to take responsibility for the mental environment you live in every day. Your mind is not a garbage bin. You don't let people dump their toxic energy in there. You don't let failure build nests there. You don't let comparison poison your progress. If something doesn't serve your growth, your focus, or your peace, it doesn't belong in your mind. That means when a thought arises that says, "You're not worthy," you don't argue with it. You destroy it. You don't let it echo in your head all day. You cut it off the moment it shows up. You say, "This doesn't belong here," and you replace it with something stronger, something true. Because discipline isn't just about routines and habits. It starts with what you allow to live in your mind. And make no mistake, mental discipline is a daily fight. It's not something you win once and walk away from. Every day your mind will test you. It will drag up old fears, replay past failures, tempt you to quit, to hide, to delay. And every day you have to fight back with truth, with focus, with clarity, because your mind is like a muscle. It only becomes strong through repetition, through resistance, through training. This is not about pretending everything is fine. It's not about toxic positivity or fake affirmations. It's about becoming mentally bulletproof. It's about building a mind that doesn't crumble when things go wrong. A mind that can stay calm under stress. A mind that keeps moving forward even when the emotions try to pull it backward. That's what discipline really is. Control over your internal world, regardless of your external world. And let's be honest. You've been through enough pain. You've had enough sleepless nights, enough anxiety, enough of those days where you felt like giving up. That pain wasn't for nothing. It taught you something. It taught you that letting negative thoughts run wild only leads to regret. It taught you that you can't afford to be passive about your mindset. You have to be aggressive. You have to take control before the thoughts take over. That means you start your day with intention. You feed your mind with things that make you stronger. You don't wake up and scroll through distractions. You wake up and you prepare for battle. Because the first thing that tries to sabotage your peace is your own thinking. And if you don't catch it early, it will snowball. You'll spiral into a bad mood, bad choices, wasted energy. And by the time the day ends, you won't even know why you feel off. Discipline fixes that. When you train your mind, you don't react to every emotion. You don't chase every impulse. You don't believe every insecure thought that pops up. You slow down. You breathe. You observe. And you decide consciously what thoughts stay and what thoughts get thrown out. This is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Not luck, not talent, discipline. The ability to control what happens in their head, no matter what happens around them. because you will face stress. You will be challenged. You will be criticized, rejected, doubted. And if you're not mentally trained, you will crumble under that pressure. But when you are mentally disciplined, you don't break. You bend, you adapt, but you don't break. You don't let someone's opinion destroy your self-worth. You don't let a bad day spiral into a bad life. You don't let one failure make you forget your vision. Because you've trained your mind to stay locked in, to stay grounded, to stay focused on the mission, not the mood. And that's how you win. Not by eliminating every negative thought that ever tries to creep in, but by building a mind so disciplined, so sharp, so focused, that those thoughts can't survive. They might show up, but they won't stay. Because your mind isn't a safe place for negativity anymore. It's a battlefield. And on that battlefield, only thoughts that serve your purpose are allowed to live. So right now, make a decision. No more letting your mind wander into weakness. No more giving space to the lies that shrink you. No more tolerating the noise that drags you down. From this moment forward, you become the guardian of your thoughts. You question everything. You hold every belief up to the light and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? And if it's not helping, you let it go. Without hesitation, without guilt, without negotiation. You've got goals to chase. You've got a life to build. And you can't afford to let your mind become your biggest enemy. Turn it into your most powerful weapon. Shape it, discipline it, protect it. Because when your mind is strong, nothing can stop you. Not failure, not fear, not doubt, nothing. And that version of you, that disciplined, focused, mentally sharp version of you, that's the one that's going to change everything. That's the version that breaks limits, that silences the critics, that turns every day into progress. But you don't find that version by accident. You find it by decision. You build it through discipline. You live it through intention. So wake up tomorrow and start strong. Reject the first negative thought that tries to ruin your focus. Replace it with power. Replace it with vision. Replace it with clarity. Do that every single day. No exceptions. No excuses. And watch how your life transforms. Because it always starts in the mind. Don't wait another moment. Take control now. Discipline your mind and eliminate negative thoughts immediately. And then keep going. Because this is the real path to freedom. Number 8, commit to daily learning and expanding your mental capacity. You are not stuck. You're just not learning fast enough. If you feel like you've hit a wall in life, like things aren't moving the way they should, like every day feels the same and nothing feels new, there's a reason. It's not because life has nothing left to offer you. It's because you stopped expanding your mind. You stopped feeding it. You stopped pushing it to grow. The truth is, the mind is like a muscle. If you don't stretch it, if you don't use it, if you don't train it, it shrinks, it weakens, and eventually it works against you instead of working for you. Every problem you face today, whether it's financial stress, a lack of motivation, poor habits, emotional struggles, career confusion, can be traced back to one thing: you need to learn something you don't know yet. There is a piece of knowledge, a skill, a shift in perspective that you haven't picked up yet. And once you do, everything changes. That's why growth begins with learning, not wishing, not waiting, not blaming, learning. You need to make a choice to become the kind of person who learns daily, not when it's convenient, not when life forces you to, but every single day on purpose. Because when you commit to daily learning, you're telling your future self, I'm coming for you. I'm going to be smarter, sharper, more aware, more equipped than I was yesterday. That's the path to a new life. Not luck, not hoping things get better, but expanding your mental capacity so you can handle more, see more, and create more. Look around at the most powerful people on earth, those who lead, build, inspire, and move nations. They all have one thing in common. They are obsessed with learning. They never assume they know it all. They read, they ask questions, they surround themselves with new ideas. They dig deep into the areas they're weak in. They don't run from ignorance. They crush it by replacing it with knowledge. That's how you evolve. You don't run from what you don't know. You face it, you study it, you master it. And this isn't about reading a few self-help books and calling it growth. This is about transforming your mindset into a learning machine. It's about realizing that every day is an opportunity to learn something that can completely change the direction of your life. One insight, one conversation, one documentary, one journal entry, one mentor's advice, one podcast. That's all it takes. One new piece of wisdom can save you years of trial and error, but only if you're open to it, only if you go after it. You've got to look at your brain like it's the most valuable real estate you'll ever own. Every single day, you either upgrade it or you let it fall apart. There is no in between. Either you're building mental wealth or you're stacking mental debt. And the people who stay stuck in life are always the ones who stopped learning a long time ago. They're repeating the same year of life 10 times, thinking it's experience, but it's not. It's a rut, it's stagnation, and it's dangerous. Because when you don't expand your thinking, the world becomes smaller. You become rigid. You start to resist change. You see growth as a threat instead of an opportunity. You cling to outdated ideas. You defend your limitations. You tell yourself stories like, "This is just who I am," when the truth is you're afraid to challenge who you've been. But the only way to change your life is to outgrow your old mindset. And the only way to do that is to learn something new every single day. Your current mindset was built by the thoughts, beliefs, and information you've been feeding it for years. If you don't like the results in your life, you've got to change the input. You've got to give your mind better food, high-quality ideas, real strategies, deep truths, because the mind eats what you feed it. If you keep feeding it drama, distractions, and negativity, don't be surprised when your life reflects confusion and stress. But if you feed it purpose, wisdom, and solutions, watch how things shift. And you don't need a college degree to do this. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. All you need is hunger. The hunger to know more, to grow more, to see what you're capable of. All you need is the decision to become a lifelong learner. Someone who wakes up and says, "I'm not going to waste this day repeating what I already know. I'm going to walk away from today sharper than I was yesterday." Start small. 10 pages a day. 15 minutes of focused research. A notebook to write down every lesson you learn. A question you ask every time you meet someone new. What do they know that I don't? What can I learn from their journey? That's how you build momentum. That's how you light the fire that turns into transformation. The real advantage in life is knowledge. When your mind is sharp, your emotions follow. Your decisions improve. Your confidence grows. You start taking bold action, not because the fear is gone, but because your mind is prepared. Learning removes the fog. It gives you clarity. It builds conviction. When you understand how things work, you stop guessing. You stop hoping. You start creating. And let's be honest, you've wasted enough time chasing temporary motivation. What you need now is to build permanent discipline around growth. No more waiting for inspiration. No more postponing your greatness. Commit to being a learner, not just a doer, because doing without learning leads to burnout. But when you learn and then act, you become powerful. You're one decision away from becoming unstoppable. One decision to stop scrolling and start studying. One decision to stop avoiding the books, the mentors, the courses that you know could change your life. One decision to make learning your lifestyle, not an option, not a hobby, a requirement, like breathing, like eating. Because the truth is, your survival in this chaotic, fast-moving world depends on your ability to keep up, adapt, and grow. And you can't do that with an outdated mind. Everything you want, freedom, confidence, abundance, clarity, it's all on the other side of learning. Learning how money works, learning how relationships function, learning how to master your emotions, learning how to communicate, learning how to lead. You don't figure these things out by accident. You figure them out by intentional growth. And that growth begins today, not someday. So ask yourself, what did I learn today that made me better than I was yesterday? If your answer is nothing, then don't go to sleep yet. Read something. Reflect. Watch a lecture. Study a master in your field. Take 5 minutes to write down 3 lessons you've been avoiding. Make today count. Stack the knowledge. Build the mental muscles. Strengthen the inner foundation. Because the moment you make learning a non-negotiable, you change your trajectory. You open doors that used to be invisible. You connect dots you didn't know existed. You stop surviving and start evolving. And that evolution compounds over time. It turns into power. The power to handle any situation. The power to outlast challenges. the power to make moves with precision instead of panic. That's what separates those who rise from those who sink when life gets hard. It's not talent. It's not background. It's the ones who chose to stay curious, who chose to invest in their mind every single day, who refused to settle for what they already knew, who kept asking, kept reading, kept watching, kept growing. And in doing so, they became unstoppable. So make that decision right now. You're not going to live another year repeating the same lessons. You're not going to stay stuck in the same patterns. You're going to grow. You're going to expand. You're going to become more mentally powerful than you've ever been. One day, one insight, one page at a time. Feed your mind with truth. Fuel your future with learning. And never let a day go by without expanding what you know. This is your call to level up. Start now. Number 9. Take responsibility for your actions and thoughts every day. If your life feels out of control, it's time to take the wheel and admit the truth. You've been handing the keys to someone else for far too long. You've blamed circumstances. You've pointed fingers. You've told yourself stories about why you're stuck, why you're tired, why you can't catch a break. But deep down, there's a voice that's been screaming for your attention. This is on you. And that's not a punishment. It's your greatest power. Because the moment you accept full responsibility for your actions and your thoughts is the moment you unlock the ability to change everything. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of chance or fate. You are not at the mercy of the world. Every thought you repeat, every choice you make, every word you speak, every behavior you justify, that's all you. That's your fingerprint, your creation, your design. And if it's not giving you the life you want, you don't fix it by blaming the world. You fix it by owning your mind and commanding your actions, like your future depends on it, because it does. You can't control everything in life, but you can always control your response. You can always control how you show up. You can control your standards. You can control your reactions. You can control your attitude. And if you control that consistently, no matter what happens around you, you rise. Maybe not overnight, maybe not instantly, but inevitably. Because responsibility isn't a weight, it's a weapon. Every time you take full ownership of a mistake, you gain strength. Every time you stop making excuses, your self-respect multiplies. Every time you stop blaming other people for your emotions, you step into maturity. This isn't about guilt, it's about power. You're not here to be flawless. You're here to be real. You're here to be honest. You're here to look in the mirror and say, if it's in my life, I had a role in it. And once you say that, you get to do something about it. That's how you get your power back. You stop saying, they made me feel this way. You stop saying, life did this to me. And you start saying, I chose this reaction. I allowed this habit. I accepted this standard. And now I'm done. That's where transformation begins. Not with wishing the world was fairer. Not with waiting for someone to apologize. But with saying, I'm responsible for who I become from this point on. The world doesn't owe you understanding. It doesn't owe you fairness. It doesn't owe you opportunities. What it gives you are moments to decide what kind of person you're going to be. Moments to either live in excuses or step into ownership. Moments where you get to rise or you get to retreat. You don't need more chances. You need more ownership. The ability to say, yes, I messed up, but I learned. Yes, I reacted poorly, but I will do better. Yes, I wasted time, but I'm not wasting another second. You want peace? Take responsibility. You want growth? Own your decisions. You want clarity? Be honest about how you got here. Because the second you stop lying to yourself, the second you stop sugarcoating your patterns, the second you stop protecting your weaknesses, you become free. That's when you start making progress that doesn't fade after a few days of motivation. That's when your evolution becomes real. You've got to stop protecting the parts of yourself that are destroying your future. Stop justifying laziness. Stop defending poor habits. Stop blaming your childhood for the way you show up as an adult. Nobody else can fix this for you. Nobody else can discipline your thoughts. Nobody else can build your character. You've got to get brutally honest with yourself and ask, what part of this mess is mine? Because whatever part is yours, that's the part you can clean up. Every time you dodge responsibility, you hand over your power to someone else. You wait for them to change so you can feel better. You wait for the situation to shift before you move forward. That's a trap. It's passive. It's powerless. But when you stop waiting and start owning everything, your thoughts, your reactions, your attitude, your priorities, you take your life into your own hands. And that's the only way to actually change anything. When your mind is undisciplined, your life becomes chaotic. And when your life is chaotic, your emotions follow. You start lashing out. You feel overwhelmed. You break promises to yourself. You chase short-term pleasure instead of long-term purpose. But once you realize that every thought you allow, every belief you reinforce, every action you take, it all adds up. You start to think differently. You stop acting like a passenger and start acting like a creator. You are always creating something, either the life you want or the life you're trying to escape from. The question is, are you doing it on purpose or by default? Are you repeating your past or are you designing your future? You can't build a masterpiece if you keep blaming the tools. You've got to take what you have, own where you are, and decide to build with precision, with clarity, with integrity. Responsibility doesn't mean perfection. It means awareness. It means saying, this is what I did. This is what I allowed. This is what I tolerated. But now I'm choosing differently. And every day you do that again. Because growth is not an event. It's a habit. It's not a single decision. It's a daily mindset. It's the willingness to check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's looking at your behaviors and saying, is this helping me or hurting me? Am I building something real or just escaping from what I refuse to fix? There's nothing more powerful than a human being who takes full ownership of their inner world. That's how you create unshakable confidence. Not by pretending to be perfect, but by being unafraid of your imperfections. By owning your flaws, facing your weaknesses, and deciding that you're going to keep rising anyway. You want to win? Take responsibility when things go wrong, and take even more responsibility when things go right. Because winners don't just own their mistakes, they also own their greatness. They own their progress. They own their discipline. And they don't wait for applause. They don't need validation. They just keep showing up for themselves. Every day, no matter what. And the truth is, life will keep testing you. It will keep throwing storms your way. It will keep triggering old patterns. And every time you will be faced with the same question. Will I react out of habit, or will I respond out of responsibility? One leads to destruction. The other leads to strength. You've got more control than you think. You have the power to think a new thought, to make a new choice, to break a toxic pattern, to speak with clarity, to act with courage. But none of that happens until you decide that your life is yours, not your parents', not society's, not your past's, yours. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be responsible. And responsibility will lead you to freedom. So stop waiting for the world to change. Stop waiting for motivation to strike. Stop waiting for someone to hand you the answers. You've got what you need. The ability to look within, to own what you find, and to rise above it. That's how real transformation begins. Not with blame, not with shame, but with total ownership. Take responsibility for your thoughts, for your choices, for your energy, for your life. And watch what happens when you do. You'll stop looking outside for answers. You'll stop needing permission. You'll start moving with purpose. You'll start making decisions that align with your values. You'll stop repeating the same lessons, because now you're learning from them. This is your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to live it for you. So stand up, take the reins, lead yourself, clean up your inner world, sharpen your focus, strengthen your discipline, build your integrity, and own every step of the process. Because once you take responsibility for everything, you become unstoppable. Now go, own this day, own your mind, own your future, and never again give your power away. Number 10, stay consistent with your mindset to create lasting success. If you don't stay consistent with your mindset, you'll keep starting over every time life gets hard, and that cycle will kill your progress faster than failure ever could. Success doesn't belong to the most talented, the most connected, or the most lucky. It belongs to those who control their thoughts day after day, even when nobody's watching, even when everything feels uncertain, even when quitting seems easier. If your mind is inconsistent, your life will be unstable. But if your mindset is rock solid, you can weather any storm, rebuild from any failure, and outlast any doubt that tries to creep in. That's what separates those who rise from those who repeat the same year over and over. It's not how loud they talk when they're confident. It's how disciplined they stay when they feel like giving up. Everyone feels motivated for a few days. Everyone shows up when it's convenient. Everyone makes promises when the mood is right. But lasting success has nothing to do with moments of hype. It's built on the boring, difficult, lonely hours when your only companion is your own mindset. You have to protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Your thoughts become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your identity. And once that identity is rooted in consistency, nobody can take that from you. Not your past, not your circumstances, not your critics, not even your fears. Think about it. How many times have you started something strong, only to let it fade because the fire didn't stay lit? How many goals have you set that felt real in the moment, but collapsed under pressure because your mind wasn't trained to hold the weight? This is where most people break, not because they're not capable, but because they never committed to managing their thoughts with relentless focus. They let outside noise dictate their inner voice. They let doubt interrupt their discipline. And eventually they convince themselves that maybe consistency just isn't their thing. But that's a lie. You were born with the ability to focus. You were given the gift of choice. You can program your mind. You can train your thinking. You can build mental patterns that become automatic. But you've got to stop being loyal to temporary emotions and start being loyal to your long-term vision. That's the real test, not how high you climb when everything's easy, but how stable you stay when life tries to shake you. Staying consistent with your mindset means waking up every day and deciding who you are before the world tells you who to be. It means choosing your thoughts with precision, refusing to entertain self-pity, and shutting down the mental chatter that tries to convince you to settle. You don't get to build a legacy by reacting to everything emotionally. You build it by filtering your thoughts through discipline and choosing direction over distraction. People will tell you success is about hustle. They'll tell you it's about networking. They'll tell you it's about skill. But if you don't have a stable mindset, none of that matters. Because your thoughts are the engine. Your perspective is the compass. Your attitude is the battery that keeps the whole thing running. And if you don't protect those things daily, your progress will always be short-lived. You've got to anchor your thinking. Set your values like concrete. Decide who you are, what you believe, and how you want to show up, regardless of how you feel. That means staying calm when chaos strikes. That means staying focused when your emotions scream for escape. That means pushing through resistance, even when nobody sees the effort but you. Most people don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because their minds are too easily hijacked by short-term thinking. One bad day, and they question everything. One setback, and they throw away months of discipline. One voice of criticism, and they believe they're not good enough. But here's the truth. Your mind will either build you or break you, and the only way to control that outcome is to train it every single day. Training your mindset means feeding it thoughts that serve your mission, not thoughts that comfort your fears. It means staying connected to your purpose when distraction tempts you to wander. It means building mental armor so thick that nothing can pierce it. Not doubt, not failure, not even success. Because sometimes success makes you lazy. Sometimes comfort lures you into softness. And that's when your mindset needs to be strongest. When you think you've made it. This is why real winners never stop sharpening their mind. They don't wait for a breakdown to get serious. They don't let wins turn into weakness. They stay hungry. They stay focused. They stay disciplined. Because they know that one slip in mindset can cost them everything they've worked for. And make no mistake, this takes work. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not loud. It's the silent commitment to excellence when nobody's watching. It's managing your thoughts at 5 a.m. when your alarm goes off and your body begs for more sleep. It's rewriting the story in your head when fear tries to make decisions for you. It's choosing patience when your goals feel far away. And it's trusting the process, even when results aren't showing yet. You've got to stop looking for external motivation and start creating internal discipline. You've got to stop chasing highs and start mastering lows. You've got to stop needing reasons and start becoming one. Because the truth is, your mindset is either moving you forward or holding you hostage. And the consistency of that mindset is what determines whether your life moves in circles or in a straight line toward success. Think about the version of you that's already living the life you want. Do you really believe that version of you is reckless with their thoughts? Do you believe they let negativity run the show? Do you believe they skip the inner work and just wing it? No, that version of you is focused, grounded, disciplined. That version of you doesn't flinch when things get hard. They get sharper. That version of you doesn't give in to doubt. They double down on belief. That version of you isn't just consistent with action. They're consistent with mindset. That's the real foundation. You can have the best plan in the world, but if your mindset collapses under pressure, the plan is useless. You can have all the tools, the strategies, the resources, but if you don't think like a winner, you'll sabotage yourself before you even get close. So stop treating your mindset like an accessory. It's the core. It's the engine. It's the backbone of every decision you make. And it needs to be trained with more intensity than your body, your schedule, or your to-do list. This is your edge. This is what separates the people who keep reinventing themselves from the ones who keep breaking their own momentum. Consistency isn't just about doing the right things. It's about thinking the right way, even when no one's watching, even when no one's cheering, even when no one believes in you yet. Because if you can keep your mind strong through all of that, there is nothing you can't build, nothing you can't recover from, nothing you can't outlast. Stop getting hyped up for 2 weeks and then falling off. Stop chasing breakthroughs and start building stability. Stop letting emotions run your schedule. Decide right now that your mindset is non-negotiable, that your peace, your focus, your beliefs, they are protected. You don't entertain toxic thoughts. You don't fuel your fears. You don't surrender to discouragement. You hold the line. You stay grounded. You remain consistent, because that is the only path to a life that doesn't fall apart every time the wind blows. This is how legends are made, not by occasional greatness, but by unwavering consistency in their thinking. So stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "How must I think?" Because if you master your mind, the actions follow, the habits stick. The life you want becomes a byproduct, not a struggle. Start now, right now. Lock in your mindset. Get clear on who you want to be and what thoughts support that identity. Then repeat those thoughts. Reinforce them. Make them your baseline. Don't do this for a week. Do it for the rest of your life. This isn't a phase, it's a decision. And once it's made, you never go back. You want real change. You want unshakable confidence. You want success that lasts. Then stay consistent with your mindset every single day. And if this hits you deeply, don't just feel it. Do something about it. Commit now, not later, not someday. Now, lock it in and don't let go. The next chapter of your life depends on it.